When the cameras stop rolling and the lights fade away, the real story begins. For years, fans believed the bond between Camron, Jim Jones, Chrissy LAMPKIN was an untouchably tight-knit family that could withstand fame, rumors, and betrayal. But one late-night scandal shattered everything. Secret affair, hidden messages, and a shocking pregnancy rumor have now thrown the hip-hop world into chaos. Was Camron really involved with Chrissy behind Jim's back? And how did this alleged betrayal spiral into one of the messiest dramas Harlem has ever seen? Let's unravel the shocking truth. When the cameras stop rolling and the lights fade away, the real story begins. For years, fans believed a bond between Camron, Jim Jones, and Chrissy LAMPKIN was an untouchably tight-knit family that could withstand fame, rumors, and betrayal. But one late-night scandal shattered everything. A secret affair, hidden messages, and a shocking pregnancy rumor have now thrown the hip-hop world into chaos. Was Camron really involved with Chrissy behind Jim's back? And how did this alleged betrayal spiral into one of the messiest dramas Harlem has ever seen? Let's unravel the shocking truth. For a long time, Chrissy LAMPKIN was seen as the ride-or-die partner of Jim Jones, someone who stood by him through the highs of his career and the messy lows of the industry. She was a familiar face on Love and Hip-Hop, the woman who fought hard to protect her relationship no matter what drama swirled around her. But now, whispers have started to circulate that she may not have been as faithful as everyone thought. The name being linked to her is shocking Camron, Jim's longtime friend and collaborator, a man who was supposed to be family. The streets started talking after reports surfaced of Chrissy and Camron being spotted together late at night in Manhattan, away from the usual eyes of the industry. At first, people brushed it off as friendly company. After all, Cam and Jim had years of brotherhood. And Chrissy was close enough to the circle that seeing them together wasn't unusual. But when a source claimed to have seen them entering a hotel together past midnight, speculation caught fire. Fans couldn't believe it was Chrissy really sneaking around with Jim's best friend. Things escalated when a mysterious text thread began circulating online. The screenshots, allegedly between Chrissy and Camron, hinted at a relationship that was far more intimate than anyone could have guessed. The language was flirty, the timing suspicious, and the tone left little room for doubt. Whether real or fabricated, the texts spread like wildfire across social media, igniting debates and outrage. Jim Jones' name was dragged into every conversation, with fans demanding to know how he would react if the rumors were true. The biggest twist came when whispers of a pregnancy began. Several gossip outlets claimed Chrissy was keeping a secret, and the timing of it lined up perfectly with the alleged late-night meetings. The suggestion that she could be pregnant with Camron's child sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world. The betrayal would be unthinkable, not just infidelity, but a complete fracture of loyalty between two men who built their careers side by side. For Jim Jones, this would be the ultimate humiliation, a scandal that would play out not just in tabloids, but in the streets, where reputation is everything. Meanwhile, Chrissy maintained her silence. No Instagram posts addressing the drama, no interviews clarifying her side. Her silence only fueled the fire. Camron, on the other hand, didn't directly deny the rumors either. Instead, he fed the gossip with cryptic post-laughing emojis, vague captions, and a casual shrug whenever his name was brought up in conversations. That only made things worse, because people began to think his playfulness was an indirect confirmation. For fans of Dipset, this was more than just a personal scandal. Camron and Jim Jones had already faced ups and downs in their friendship over the years. Their bond was legendary, but it was also rocky, with public fallouts and reconciliations. This new rumor threatened to destroy everything they had rebuilt. Betrayal on this level isn't something you can come back from easily. The streets of Harlem buzzed with tension. Everywhere you went, people had an opinion about the so-called affair. Some believed it was all a fabricated story cooked up for clout, a way to drag Cam and Chrissy back into the spotlight. Others were convinced that where there's smoke, there's fire. Too many little pieces, late-night sightings, secretive messages. Odd behavior online lined up to suggest something deeper was happening. Jim Jones himself became the center of attention, with fans waiting for his reaction. Would he lash out publicly? Would he confront Cam directly? Or would he pretend the rumors didn't exist? People analyzed every move he made, from his Instagram likes to his offhand comments and interviews. The pressure was mounting, and everyone knew it was only a matter of time before something exploded. But beyond the gossip, there was something tragic about the entire situation. If true, this wasn't just about celebrity drama. It was about broken trust, betrayal of loyalty, and the destruction of bonds that had been built over decades. For Jim, the pain wouldn't just be from Chrissy's alleged actions, but from Camron, the man who was supposed to have his back through everything. The idea that his own partner and closest friend could conspire against him was almost too much to imagine. Still, the industry thrives on scandal, and the media was not about to let this one go. Headlines screamed betrayal, blogs dissected every detail, and YouTube channels churned out endless speculation videos. Chrissy's pregnancy rumor became the centerpiece of the story, with people demanding proof. Was she hiding a baby bump? Was Cam really the father? Or was it all a cruel fabrication meant to destroy reputations? As the tension grew, so did the stakes. For Camron, his image as a Harlem legend was on the line. For Chrissy, her reputation as Jim's loyal partner was at risk. And for Jim Jones, his pride, his trust, and his entire public identity were hanging in the balance. The story was no longer just about late-night affairs. It was about betrayal, survival, and whether this scandal would permanently fracture Harlem's most iconic circle. This was just the beginning. And the world was watching. The fallout from the whispers was unavoidable. By the time the rumors had fully gripped the blogs, Jim Jones was already being bombarded with comments on every post he made. Fans tagged him under memes, sending snake emojis, and demanding that he check his circle. For a man who prided himself on loyalty and family, the public humiliation was unbearable. He had always carried himself as someone untouchable, a Harlem general who never bowed to outside pressure. But when it's your own people betraying you, what armor can really protect you? Behind the scenes, insiders claimed Jim confronted Chrissy first. Their argument was said to be explosive, with voices raised and accusations flying across the room. Chrissy denied everything, swearing she had never crossed the line with Camron, but Jim couldn't shake the nagging suspicion. Too many late-night absences, too many unexplained messages, too many coincidences piling up. Even if the affair wasn't real, the trust between them was cracked. And when trust breaks in a relationship that has survived countless battles, the crack feels like an earthquake. Cam's single quotes Ron, meanwhile, was playing his role to unbothered, laughing off the rumors like they were nothing more than internet comedy. But people noticed how carefully he avoided directly denying the claims. In interviews, when asked about Chrissy, he'd smile slyly and say things like, "Man, people are making up anything these days," or "That's family, man. Stop playing." His words danced around the truth without ever putting the fire out. If anything, his charm only poured gasoline on the flames. The streets took sides. Some fans said Chrissy was being unfairly targeted, that people loved to drag her down because she had always been outspoken and unafraid to clap back. Others insisted there was no way all these rumors appeared out of thin air. Harlem barbershops, corner conversations, and late-night Twitter spaces turned into heated debates over whether Chrissy had really betrayed Jim. And in every conversation, supposed pregnancy was the bombshell everyone couldn't stop discussing. That rumor hit Jim the hardest. It wasn't just about infidelity anymore, it was about legacy. A child changes everything. If the child wasn't his, the betrayal would echo forever, a wound that could never fully heal. Some reports claim Jim started keeping his distance from Chrissy, refusing to appear publicly with her while he sorted out the truth. Paparazzi noticed their absence together, fueling even more speculation. Every photograph, every sighting or lack of one became a puzzle piece in the scandal. As tension mounted, Dipset loyalists worried about the brotherhood. Cam and Jim had built their names together, rising from Harlem streets to global stages. Their partnership wasn't just music hit, was a symbol of Harlem pride. But if Cam had crossed the line with Chrissy, it would erase years of brotherhood in an instant. Old wounds resurfaced as fans remembered their past beefs, the times when Cam and Jim had fallen out before. Some even said this scandal explained why things between them had always seemed unstable, that there had been hidden resentment all along. Social media detectives started digging deeper, pulling up old clips, past interactions, and subtle body language moments that now seemed suspicious. A video of Cam joking with Chrissy years ago suddenly looked like flirting. An old photo of them sitting close at a party was now treated like evidence. Every detail was magnified, twisted, and recast, under the light of betrayal. For Jim, this was salt in the wound, watching the internet replay his life, dissecting his pain for entertainment. Meanwhile, Chrissy was walking a tightrope. On one hand, she wanted to defend herself, to scream that the rumors were false and that she would never betray Jim that way. On the other hand, she knew speaking too soon could backfire. She denied everything, and new evidence popped up. She'd look like a liar. She admitted even a hint of truth. Her relationship and public image would shatter instantly. She stayed silent, posting normal lifestyle pictures, pretending life was business as usual. While her comments filled with accusations she couldn't escape, Cam thrived on the chaos. His Instagram stories were full of subliminal songs with lyrics about betrayal, jokes about keeping it in the family, cryptic memes that fans interpreted as him mocking Jim. Some believed he was deliberately taunting the situation, while others thought he was just enjoying the attention. Either way, the strategy worked. His name was on every blog headline, his followers shot up, and suddenly Cam was trending again. What should have been a damaging rumor had turned into a PR revival. But Jim wasn't laughing. For him, this wasn't a game. Every time he stepped out, people whispered. His pride was wounded, his household in turmoil, and his friendship hanging by a thread. In quiet moments, he questioned everything. How long had this been going on? Were his instincts wrong? Or had he been blind to betrayal happening under his nose? Friends close to Jim said he became more withdrawn, angrier, and more defensive. He lashed out at small things, carrying the weight of suspicion everywhere he went. Some of Jim's inner circle urged him to cut ties. Immediately, both with Chrissy and Cam. They told him the streets would respect him more if he showed zero tolerance for betrayal. Others said he should hold off, wait for concrete proof, and avoid burning bridges over rumors. That conflict left Jim paralyzed, stuck between rage and restraint. For a man known for explosive outbursts, his silence was deafening. Fans wondered if he was plotting revenge behind the scenes or if he was too broken to respond. Then came the whispers of legal drama. Some insiders claimed Jim had considered demanding a paternity test if the pregnancy was real. Others said he was ready to walk away from Chrissy entirely, regardless of the truth. Gossip pages ate it up, spinning theories that Chrissy might go public with her side to protect her image. Some even speculated she could flip the story into a reality TV arc, using the scandal to reclaim relevance on screen. Every move felt calculated, every silence suspicious. By this point, the story had left Harlem and gone nationwide. Radio shows, podcasts, and YouTubers everywhere dissected the betrayal. The narrative wasn't just about Chrissy and Comet. Had become a cautionary tale about trust, loyalty, and the dangers of mixing personal life with industry friendships. People began sharing their own betrayal stories online, using Jim's situation as the backdrop. The scandal wasn't just entertainment. Anymore, it had struck a nerve. resonating with anyone who had ever felt backstabbed by someone close. Cam, for all his bravado, wasn't untouchable either. While some fans celebrated his antics, others called him a snake, accusing him of breaking the ultimate code. The street code values loyalty above all, and if Cam had truly gone behind Jim's back, wasn't just messy, it was unforgivable. His legacy as a Harlem legend was suddenly at risk, threatened not by music but by personal choices. As the weeks dragged on, the pressure built to a boiling point. Jim could no longer avoid the spotlight. Chrissy could no longer hide, and Cam could no longer play coy. Truth, whatever it was about to come crashing down. The scandal had started as a late-night rumor, but now it was an avalanche, threatening to bury friendships, relationships, and reputations forever. The stage was set for a confrontation that would either clear the air or blow everything to pieces. When the dust finally settled, it became clear that this wasn't a scandal that could just be swept under the rug. The tension had grown too heavy, the whispers too loud, and the silence too unbearable. Jim Jones, a man who had built his entire image on strength and loyalty, could no longer stand by while his name was dragged through the mud. Behind closed doors, he decided it was time to confront the two people at the center of it all, Chrissy and Camron. According to sources close to the situation, the confrontation was everything people expected and more. Voices were raised, words that could never be taken back were exchanged, and the bond between brothers cracked in ways that seemed irreparable. Jim demanded answers. He wanted to know the truth, not the rumors, not the gossip, just the truth. But Cam, true to his nature, didn't give him what he wanted. Instead, he laughed, brushed it off, and told Jim he was letting the internet play him. That only enraged Jim more. For him, this wasn't about the internet, it was about respect, it was about loyalty. It was about family. Chrissy, caught in the middle, swore up and down that nothing had happened. She claimed the rumors were exaggerated, that people twisted innocent moments into something sinister. But Jim couldn't ignore the fact that the timing of everything, the secrecy, and the silence all painted a picture that was hard to deny. Even if Chrissy wasn't guilty of everything the blogs accused her of, she wasn't completely innocent either, not in Jim's eyes. The trust they once shared had been poisoned, and rebuilding it would take more than words. The supposed pregnancy became the tipping point. Gossip outlets continued to speculate, some claiming Chrissy had visited a doctor in private, others insisting she was avoiding the spotlight to hide a growing bump. But when weeks passed without confirmation, the story began to unravel. Some said the pregnancy was nothing more than a fabricated twist, a lie planted to make the affair story more sensational. Others believed Chrissy may have quietly ended things before the secret could go public. Whatever the truth, the rumor had already done its damage. The seed of doubt had been planted in Jim's mind, and once that kind of doubt takes root, it's almost impossible to dig out. Publicly, Jim tried to keep a brave face. He appeared in interviews, dodging questions with vague answers, acting like the rumors didn't bother him. But fans could see the change. His usual energy was dimmer, his usual confidence shaken. Even in his music there was a darker edge, as if every lyric carried the weight of betrayal. People began to wonder if this scandal would become the breaking point for Jim, not just in his relationship with Chrissy, but in his career as well. Cam's single quotes Ron, on the other hand, leaned into the chaos. He used the publicity to his advantage, staying active online, posting jokes, and dropping subtle bars that fans interpreted as digs at Jim. For him, the scandal became a stage, another opportunity to remind people of his relevance. And while some fans cheered his nonchalant attitude, others grew disgusted, calling him out for playing with something as sacred as loyalty. The divide was clear. Cam had regained attention, but at the cost of his reputation with those who valued brotherhood over entertainment. Meanwhile, Chrissy was left to face the harshest criticism. Blogs accused her of being disloyal. Fans attacked Her comments and her name became synonymous with betrayal. For a woman who had spent years trying to prove her devotion to Jim, this was the ultimate undoing. Whether guilty or not, she had been painted as the villain in a story that would follow her forever. And as the silence dragged on, it became harder and harder for her to reclaim her image. By the time the scandal reached its peak, Harlem itself felt divided. The neighborhood that once celebrated the Dipset Brotherhood now debated whether it had all been a facade. The streets, once filled with pride for the unity of Jim and Cam, now buzzed with talk of betrayal and broken trust. It was as if the scandal had become a mirror of the times, showing how fragile loyalty really is in an industry built on fame, money, and temptation. But the most painful part of the story wasn't the rumors, the blogs, or even the public embarrassment. It was the silence between Jim and Cam. Two men who had once called each other brothers now walked different paths. Their conversations reduced to cold exchanges or none at all. The laughter, the camaraderie, the bond that had carried them through the highs and lows, it was all gone. And in its place stood resentment, suspicion, and the shadow of betrayal. For Jim, the lesson was brutal but clear. Not everyone you call brother is truly your brother. And for Cam, the scandal served as both a blessing and a curse, reviving his name in the spotlight, but staining it with whispers of disloyalty. Chrissy, caught in the crossfire, became the tragic centerpiece of a drama she could never escape. Her love for Jim forever questioned. Her loyalty forever doubted. The scandal eventually quieted down in the way all scandals do. New drama emerged. New headlines distracted the masses and the intensity faded. But for those involved, the scars remained. Jim and Chrissy's relationship, even if it survived, was never the same. Cam and Jim's brotherhood, even if repaired, carried a fracture that would always be visible. The trust that had once been their foundation was gone, and no amount of music, fame, or apologies could fully rebuild it. And yet in the world of hip-hop, scandals like these never truly die. They linger in the background, waiting to resurface whenever old wounds are poked. Every time Jim drops a bar about betrayal, every time Cam posts a sly joke, every time Chrissy steps out in public, the whispers return. The scandal lives on in the memories of fans, in the archives of blogs, and in the gossip of Harlem streets. In the end, the story wasn't just about a late-night affair or a rumored pregnancy. It was about loyalty tested, bonds broken, and the fragile nature of trust in a world where temptation lurks around every corner. It was about how one rumor can destroy decades of brotherhood, how one secret can unravel an entire legacy, and how even the strongest relationships can collapse under the weight of suspicion. For the fans, it was entertainment. For the blogs, it was content. But for Jim, for Cam, and for Chrissy, it was real life, painful, messy, and unforgettable. And though the world eventually moved on, none of them ever truly did. Because in Harlem, betrayal doesn't just fade away. It lingers in every glance, every silence, every unspoken word. And no matter how many years pass, the shadow of that late-night rumor will always hang over them. A reminder that trust,